Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott, and here we go again this weekend, and not weekend, we're during the week.
Depends on when you're watching it. Welcome to Can We Talk? This is Charles Scott Sr. I'm Charles Scott Jr. Like I said before, you can watch this on your own time as far as you go on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Type in Can We Talk Tri-State Realty. Multiple episodes at this point, over 100. Not just real estate, information that also help your life.
Yeah, we give a lot of information out here helping you with your finances and try to give you an idea of how to plan for the future as to some of the things that are happening, not only in, like I said, real estate, but as far as inflation. We try to stay away from politics.
Oh, yeah. Don't talk about that.
We don't get involved in any of that. But we might talk about the after effects of it and some of the things that we see happening as a basis of the policies that are being enacted. So
yeah,
therefore,
that's very true.
These are some of the things that we do talk about that would possibly help you in the future with making some kinds of decisions.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say the news does affect the market, and politics do too. We don't really talk about the politics, but what affects you is the interest rates, the inventory, what people are doing in the market now. I get calls every day. People ask me, is this a good time to buy? I tell them, okay, is it a good time to buy for you? Are you actually ready? Have you gotten a pre-approval? Do you have money saved up for closing costs? Have you explored all your options as far as there are any programs in the state that can help you with down payment? If those boxes are all checked, I would say, are you ready to buy a house? As far as we can start right there.
One of the things, like you just mentioned it there, all real estate is local. So some of the things that we may talk about here may not apply to you in other parts of the country because our broadcasts now are throughout the United States, and with the internet and YouTube, anyone can tune in no matter where they are in the world. So some of the things that we're talking about more or less may pertain to the East Coast or Connecticut. We're based in Connecticut, and may not apply to Idaho, Wyoming, Texas, Florida. But what we do find is that some of the trends that occur there eventually make it over to us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because right now, I mean, I'll date this. We're in the middle of June. That big article came out last week from Redfin, just saying how throughout the country they're getting like a kind of a tipping of the industries from a seller's market to a buyer's market. But if you ask some people around Fairfield County, they'll say, what buyer's market? I'm looking for a house and everything's getting scooped up. What it is depends on where you're at in the United States and what's going on in that market. For example, if I'm in Florida, I'm hearing down there's a lot of condos for sale, a lot of single families for sale, and those factors are determined by the weather. You see there's a lot of hurricanes down there. People are actually leaving Florida now versus going down there because they see that the property taxes are going up, the insurance rates are going up dramatically, and sometimes they won't even get insurance because there's such a danger for flooding.
Yeah, and I thought about that as I said it, as far as things in other parts of the country or other states affect what we're doing here as it moves in this direction. One of the elephants in the room, or the big factor right now, is insurance.
Property insurance.
Property insurance. If you are a homeowner, you probably noticed that your insurance costs have gone up, and a lot of that you may say, well, hey, I never had any claims. We don't have a lot of hurricanes, tornadoes, and windstorms in our area, but because you do have them in Florida, North Carolina, and all these other states, the insurance companies, they average the cost. They charge you for something that happened in Florida. In Florida, was it a couple of years ago, they had the tornadoes where a lot of the condos got damaged. And I think there was a condo development where the entire condo building fell down to the ground.
Yes.
So that affected the new laws there, where now, they have to be hurricane resistant, and all of them have to be inspected so many years. And the assessments, the condo fees shot through the roof, and it made it hard for people to get insurance. So other condo developments throughout the United States and other insurance companies started looking at that. So that even actually affects us here on the East Coast. Whereas if something were to happen, can they prepare for it? Especially here in the East Coast, one of the things they're looking at is that you know, those 1 in 1,000 year, what do you call it, floods.
Nor'easters that come in.
Northeasters come in. The flooding. We are on the Atlantic coastline, coming all the way from New York into Norwalk, Stamford, Bridgeport, Stratford, New Haven, all the way up to Massachusetts. On the shoreline there, we have a lot of houses that have been built, and as the water starts to rise, even what they call global warming, as the sea level starts to go up, more and more houses are going to be flooded that have not been flooded in the past.
Oh, yeah, you see that a lot. For example, look at Milford, look at Groton, you'll see houses built on the shoreline. The newer houses are being built taller because they're realizing this shoreline is being eroded away. When I have customers, we're looking for a house, I always check the flood map to see if the house is in the flood map, to see if it needs flood insurance. And what I'll see is the 100-year plan, the 500 plan, et cetera, et cetera. What you have to worry about is the 100-year plan. Even though it seems like it's a long time away, your mortgage is 30 years. But what if you're in the middle of that 100 years? As far as you'll notice the shoreline is slowly eroding away to where there's a point where your house may be uninsurable because it's going to be guaranteed a chance for flooding.
Mm-hmm. I actually read an article on that. We all think of the 100-year floodplain. It tells you in that area, possibilities of a flood. It's not really the possibility of a flood within that 100 years. It's the possibility of how many floods you will have within that 100 years. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to wait 100 years. It could be, could be next week. And we have what we call, you just said it, the Northeasterners, where the water swirls around counterclockwise and sucks the water up from the ocean and deposits it on the land. Mm-hmm. So it pushes the waves into the waves and the currents into the land, which causes, it's the wind, they say. They always say it's not the hurricane, it's the wind pushing the water.
Yeah, you see that a lot. As far as once the storm is over, you see the water recedes back to where it came from. But the wind will pick the water up, like you said, and move it into areas that normally don't see any water or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, houses that didn't normally need flood insurance going forward will need flood insurance because they didn't get wet before.
Right. So as I said, we talk about a lot of different things on this program, that being one of them, to let you know that some of the possibilities, so that when you're going out there and you're looking to purchase a property, we're saying that these are things that you should take into consideration. Even if it's not a problem now, it could change because these maps, the maps, and when I say by maps, the Army Corps of Engineers, or FEMA, they make up maps and they show lines and streets that might flood. And the insurance companies use these maps to determine how much money to charge you for insurance. Mm-hmm. But they change the maps. And a house that used to not be flood now may flood. Mm-hmm. So just do your due diligence. You're looking to buy a house, look into all the possibilities instead of waiting until the closing, and then you get the shock the week before the closing where the mortgage company says, now go out and find out how much it's going to cost for your insurance. And maybe you were counting on paying, $125 a month, and now it's, $250 a month. And you find out you don't qualify for the house, or your cost of that mortgage is going to be a lot more than what you thought it was. So we're just saying these are some of the things that we have you look at to be, take caution so we can possibly save you some money in the future.
And also, I'm going to take it off our viewers. We put a lot of pressure on them, not just you. I say the thing that you should start with is a good realtor, because in the end, he should be checking on that stuff for you. You're a first-time home buyer. You got a lot of stuff to learn. You may be taking a first-time home buyer class. I take classes, I teach classes also. And I will say, when people are done with that class, a lot of information to absorb. But if you have professionals around you, you build a good team, these professionals should be checking on these things also. Like I said, when I work with my first-time home buyers or any of my clients, I'm always checking the flood map, because that is a sneaky thing here, especially in Fairfield County, especially Stratford. Some houses you may not realize are in the flood zone, but you can see a clue. The house may not have a basement, or the houses surrounding may not have basements. Mm-hmm. And you'll say, why don't I have basements? Because if they dig, they'll encounter water. So like I said, it's good to do your own diligence, get really good at this, but also make sure the professionals that you're hiring to help you find this house also know how to do their own due diligence.
Yeah, like the other thing is, like, Right now, we tell people it's a good time to sell a property. When you're talking about getting a good realtor, you need to have a real estate agent who knows the market, and you try to figure out, what can I do with my property to get the best bang for the buck? What do I need to do to get that property ready to put it on the market? What do I have to do to what's the best features of that property? When a property goes on the market, if it's a real property that everybody wants, it doesn't last too long. And then they have what they call highest and best. That means, let's say you're selling a property for $300,000, and all of a sudden you get a lot of people that want to buy that property. So what the seller will decide to do and tell his agent, well, let's have a highest and best. That means let's ask people out there to give your best offer. Give your best offer right now, because then we'll make a decision. And usually when a property is highest and best, it'll sell for higher than what the people are asking for,
Yes.
higher than what it's listed for. So that $300,000 property, even if you put an offer in, let's say for $290,000, and now they're asking for the highest and best, your agent will say to you, well, look, they're asking $300,000, you offer $290,000. Since they're asking for the highest and best, that must possibly mean that they have multiple offers. And it doesn't necessarily mean that. They could still ask you for your highest and best, but usually it means that there's a lot of people putting the offers in, and most people are putting the offers in are going to put their highest, which means how high do they think that they want to go. And best means maybe you put more money down to make the offer better.
I was going to say that also. Remember, the highest offer may not be the best offer. I mean, make sure you have a realtor that's experienced also. We have clients, people have given us offers very high over asking, and we have to explain to our clients, although you see the dollar signs, remember in the end, we still have to appraise. And there's other offers here that are closer to your asking price, some even with cash, that I guarantee, I can't guarantee, but if we go with these offers, it'll be a smoother process than this offer, although higher, may be a waste of time and lose you months in the market once we order a contract.
Yeah, the highest offer does not always mean that that's the best offer.
Yes.
Because anyone
And it's
could
funny because people say it's called highest and best. You would think it's both.
anyone could put a high offer down on the paper, but remember the ultimate goal is to sell the house. If they offer you a lot of money and the house does not sell, that's not the best offer.
No, definitely not.
The highest and best means that you've got to really, look at all the factors.
All the factors. For example, if I have a client I'm representing, and let's say they have a house that they've lived in for a long time, and we have two offers. One offer may be a little bit higher than the other one, but let's say that lower offer may be $10,000 less. They're saying, guess what? We're taking the house as is. Doesn't have to be broom swept or anything. Leave everything where you are. We had a client last year, older gentleman. All he had to do was pack his suitcase that morning. Walked out the house. We moved in with his daughter. He was so happy. Sold the house as is. Didn't have to clean up anything.
That's a good point you're making right there. For a lot of people out there that are looking to sell your house, people always ask me, matter of fact, just this weekend, should I paint the walls? Should I do this? What? I said, no. I said, do small things that you should be doing in the first place. I looked at a house and I did what they call a market analysis, and I gave the people some advice as to what to do when they're selling this was a condo. And I said, well, there's really not too much you can do in here other than paint, and you don't want to go painting the interior because the colors you pick out, people may not like.
Exactly.
You can date yourself by saying, oh, I remember when kitchens were yellow. I remember when the boys' room was blue and the girls' room was pink. And you go into some of the houses and you got a yellow kitchen, a pink room, a blue room. The bathroom is either blue or pink.
I'll say wallpaper sometimes.
It looks like a circus. And so, or even there again, older people, they like the wallpaper. So they'll have wallpaper, they'll go order wallpaper, have wallpaper. So you can imagine this house, a yellow kitchen, blue room, a pink room, a blue bathroom, or a pink bathroom, a wallpaper up there, carpet on the floors, and you're like proud as can be saying, oh, this is beautiful. And people walk in and they say, oh, that is ugly. Gee, you know, that is right away the value of the property just drastically went down.
Remember, I was gonna say, when you were selling your house, you wanted to keep it like a blank slate, you know, neutral colors. That's why I say we order a CMA from us, and even though I say the word order, how much does it cost?
Nothing.
It's free. It's a free CMA. And like I said, I can either send me some pictures of your house, or I'd rather come to your house so I can see what you have done that's different than other houses. For example, maybe your basement is finished, maybe you have a jacuzzi, maybe you've done things in the backyard. And like I said, these features are gonna make your house stand out from the others.
Yeah, don't put too much money into the house. Like as far as, you know, painting, don't paint unless, you know, maybe the last tenant you had living there, the child got a hold of some crayons and decided to go throughout the house with the crayons. In a case like that, I'd say yes, you know, paint. But like my son just said, paint with a neutral color. People now like this, it's like a light blue, like sky blue, but very light tint. But don't go and, you know, do that unless you, if it's got the old eggshell, leave the eggshell there.
I was gonna leave the eggshell.
Don't go repainting over it because people may not like the color that you choose. Appliances, it doesn't, you know, people today do like stainless steel appliances, but it wouldn't pay for you to go put new stainless steel appliances in because people have their own preference. You might put in Hot Point years ago, they like GE or they like LG, or people all have these newer type of appliances, so that you may put something in there that they may not like. So you're spending all of that money.
Exactly.
And it's not going to give you a whole lot of value. Let them negotiate on the price versus you dictating what you want them to have.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, you know, I always encourage people to order a CMA, have us come out, but we'll point out things you will be surprised that if you fix this way or move this that way, but oh wow, that will increase the value a lot more than doing something that's very major, like doing a bathroom over or paving the driveway. Maybe inside your kitchen, your cabinets are brown. Let's paint those white. Let's see what that does. You know?
Right, there you go.
That's very simple. Doing that will actually make the room feel bigger, the kitchen feel bigger. You know, we know
Brighter
brighter too. And trust, we know some areas, and we're experts in this area, Fairfield County and abroad. But don't buy things brand new if you can. I mean, if you want to put a nice stainless steel fridge in there, refurbish. And you may think refurbish is damaged, dents. There's some great places you can buy some stainless steel appliances for a great value. Remember, you're selling the house anyway. It's not going to be your fridge anyway, but it'll be a functioning fridge. Don't go to Home Depot and spend $1,200, $1,800 on a new fridge you're not going to use anyway.
Well, you know, like you just said, there's different ways you can go out and really fix the house up. That's why you would call us as professionals. We can come in. We could recommend certain places to you that you can get things at a great discount. Something that might cost you $2,500, we could show you where you could get it for like $600, and it's going to still have the same effect. It's going to have the same
effect.
Same effect. So you just save yourself $1,800 or $1,700 there. You save your money on a stove, save your money on the refrigerator, and on the cabinets, like you just said. What I like doing is if you got brown cabinets or dated cabinets, don't go replacing all the cabinets. You can get a nice high gloss, extra white, it's called extra white high gloss paint. And you put a couple of coats on there, if you necessary, 3 coats on there, and you look at it, it's just as shiny and white, and change the knobs, you know.
I recommend that, change the knobs.
Change the knob, put some silver or gold knobs on there, and you've just created a nice white cabinets, beautifully looking, nice photogenic too, because when you take a picture and you list that property, you don't show the, you know, I was going to say the ugly brown cabinets, because some people out there may have them and get offended, but I'm just telling you what the buyers want.
That's what the buyers want. Have a nice backsplash and everything. And, you know, you don't have to have marble. I mean, you can do quartz. You can even leave it as is long as it looks nice, neat. You know, have some used appliances in there. There's other parts of the house people are going to focus on also.
And if you don't want to break the budget, they have out now, which even I bought recently, they have these nice quartz-looking countertops that are Formica. In other words, years ago, the Formica was that yellow. They give you colors. They give you a swatch of colors. You know, red, blue, green, yellow. There's all solid colors. And it's all dated. Now, with the new designs they have for the countertops, they have. And I won't mention the places you can buy them. I'm not advertising it.
Give us
you
a
can
call.
you can go online, look. They have nice quartz-looking countertops that you can custom and put the sink in there. And to be honest with you, they look beautiful. They look
very
it's
good.
just a matter of you know, getting up there and hitting it with a hammer. But to be honest with you, some people are getting away from the what do you call it?
Marble.
The granite.
Granite marble.
Because what happens if you have a pot that falls down there and cracks the granite? That's a lot of money. Now you got you know, an inch thick granite with a big crack in it. So that's worse than having a regular Formica that it just bounces off of. Imagine a brand new car. A brand new car with a dent in it is worse than an older car with a dent in it.
Yeah, I was going to say that with the Formica, like you said, the quartz, there's other options than just standard granite, getting it cut and everything like that. There's cheaper options that look just as good. Because remember, people are going to start with your house where? On Zillow. They're going to look at the pictures. Pictures look good, then it gets them there in the house, and they see the house looks good. Maybe make sure the lighting is good. Trust, when your house is listed with Tri-State Realty, we do a video tour, we do an open house, we do a lot more things that other places can do.
You know, we should have started a program, This Old House, but I think they something like on TV.
Yeah, right.
we could give you a lot of what is it called, do it yourself or something, DIY or something like that. Tips on which is what we're doing right now. Like I said, is ways of saving you money and putting more money in your pocket when you sell that particular property. There's many things that you can do. And, you know, how do I find this out? From experience, number one, from actually doing it, number two. In other words, I actually do these things, and I'm in the process of doing one right now. And so these are the things that you do, and I know what people are looking for, and I know what they're looking to buy. So being a real estate agent, I know where to go and draw the line. I don't want to go to the point of where I'm putting too much into it for no return.
Exactly.
So I go right to the point of where I know it's going to be attractive. I know they're going to like it, and I know they're going to actually love it. But at the same time, I'm still making it affordable where I'm not asking a lot of money for it to be trying to get back all the money that I put into it. And I put just enough in there so that they can then take over, use their imagination, and go forward from there where we can both win. It's a win-win situation.
That's what you see a lot with these houses. You'll see it been on the market for a long time. They look very, very beautiful. But you see that beautiful price, this looks influences the price. Where the house is then overpriced for the area because now the investor's trying to get every penny he put in there, realizing he'll overspend on the house. And he's not going to get all the money back. He's better off pricing it accordingly. And actually, starting from ground zero, he should have priced that into his development as far as not do too much. Because like we talk to a lot of developers now, you can't predict the cost of labor, the cost of supplies, everything's changing constantly. So with these new houses that have been on the market for a long time, those are the ones we're going to start seeing some price cuts on.
Yeah, you just mentioned something there. It's very important, and I can't stress enough, that you use a professional, have us come in to give you some ideas as to what to do when you price that particular property. One of the things that, you know, we see happening is where, like you said, people actually come to us after the fact where they've put too much money into the property, and now they want to charge more than the property will actually, the market will bear. And so they're trying to squeeze out every penny that they can by pricing the property very high. Now this hurts the buyer, and it's going to hurt our seller, because now the seller's coming to us saying, well, this is what I'm looking for. And we know based upon the market that really that's overpriced.
Yes.
It's an overpriced listing. Now, we can't refuse the list. We can't say, well, no, we're not going to sell your house because you're charging too much. number one, it creates animosity. The seller's gonna say, well, you don't wanna sell my house. And he might just get someone willing to pay that. Or he would get another real estate agent and say, oh, I'll take that listing. So we make a deal and say, okay, I will list your property. However, after a while, we got to revisit this and see.
Exactly.
If you're not getting anyone, or if the feedback, everybody who saw your house said it's overpriced, then you can consider reducing the price of the property. But here's the problem you run into. If you take and put your house on the market for sale, and it sits there for 2, 3, 4 months, now you are automatically devaluing the property, because first thing people ask, how long has this house been on the market? They feel as though the longer it's been on the market, the less money or the less attractive, or the seller is willing to negotiate more. They always say, well, is the seller willing to negotiate? Of course, everyone is willing to negotiate everything, no matter what. But if it's been there for a long time, it devalues the property, because it's probably saying nobody wants me.
You know, it doesn't look good when you have a property that says 87 days, 100 days on the market. But if you have a good agent, make sure you have a good agent that looks into things. For example, I've helped some of my clients get some good deals, because these houses that have extended days on the market, they're not showing up on Zillow as the hot newest items or newest properties. They're actually on page 4, 5, 6. But we have a good agent, I can look at the confidential notes. It may say buyer unable to perform due to mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. So the house could actually be ready to go, just the financing wasn't working on the buyer's side. I tell my clients we can slip in there and possibly put an offering and accept it a lot quicker. So make sure you have a real estate agent that's going to look at all the factors when it comes to a house that's been on the market for a long time.
So basically what we've been talking about today is, number one, it's a good market. It's a good time to sell the property. However, you have to also do your homework,
Yes.
get an agent. Some people that are experienced, we've got 40 years of experience. This is what we do. There's no cost for us to come out and look at your property
Not at all.
and give you some ideas so that you can get top dollar for that house.
Yes.
So again, our number's right there. Give us a
Give us a
call,
call.
Father and Son team. You get 2 for the price of 1.
Yep, exactly.
Until next week, God bless.
Amen. All right.